Wow, you cannot make this up. I want to show you all the exact moment that Donald Trump gets fact-checked to his face by his arch nemesis, Jerome Powell. Now, Trump tries to manufacture a moment where he gets one over on Jay Powell, but Jerome Powell is quite clever. Remember, Trump has created this very one-sided beef where he's always lunging and attacking the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, yet Jerome Powell largely keeps a steady hand. He goes out on stage and says, listen, I'm going to finish out my term until its end date. I'm not going to follow any political pressure or follow the whims of an erratic president. He says, I'm going to keep a steady hand and do my job. Now, Jerome Powell also is saying that Donald Trump's tariffs are inflationary and delaying rate cuts. So Trump is overall just incredibly mad. He's like a baby who needs his diaper changed. I'm not even saying that to be cute. He literally throws a temper tantrum on camera. And something that a lot of people aren't pointing out before I play this clip is that Donald Trump intentionally tries to manufacture this moment. Let me play it with the audio off. So as they're walking up, Jerome Powell kind of goes over to the side. He doesn't really want to be on camera, but Trump intentionally tries to pull him over and says, listen, get on camera. We're going to manufacture this moment right here. And then Trump tries to make up some crazy statement. He even pulls out a piece of paper to substantiate the statement, but Jerome Powell very quickly fact checks him. What Donald Trump doesn't realize is that other politicians aren't as dumb as him. Other politicians have the cognitive ability to think things through on the spot and reason things through. So Jerome Powell immediately goes, you just made this number up. You added a completely different building into this figure. This is not at all the correct figure. You just made this up entirely. So make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed and drop a like to help boost the message that we're pushing. I appreciate you all. And let's watch this clip in its entirety. I won't say anything. I'll let it play.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking at the construction, and we're with the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. You know, it's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons why we wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses. We wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
That's our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use. But no, we don't. We expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off, everyone.
What an absolute embarrassment. If President Biden tried to get one over on the Fed chair and then got smacked across the face verbally, it would be front page news all over, yet people aren't talking about this. He then tries to pivot and says, oh, let's take off our hats. It's quite hot in here. There's another video that I want to play for you, but really quickly, what makes this more ironic is that as I was doing research, the renovation is going to cost $2.5 billion. It was initiated back in 2022 and is going to take a few years. A lot of people argue that it was necessary due to structural flaws within the building, but it doesn't even come out of taxpayer dollars. It comes out of the Federal Reserve's separate budget. Honestly, I'm pretty neutral on it. I've heard arguments about the structural flaws. I've heard arguments about this being too expensive. I'm largely neutral, but Donald Trump's relentless and consistent attacks aren't about this. He's trying to undermine the position of the Fed chair because he wants to place a puppet in there. He has successfully placed a puppet in every single part of the federal government to a point where the DOJ, the FBI, everything is under his thumb. He's mad that Jerome Powell has been holding the line. Congrats to Jerome Powell, by the way. He's been doing a solid job at making sure it's not politicized. But Trump wants to undermine Jay Powell in any possible way. And it's funny because if we read this, the federal staff members are citing tariffs and inflation for the costly renovations. Federal Reserve staff blamed tariff and inflation for the high cost of the renovation of the central bank's headquarters on Thursday, and it's going to be $2.5 billion. Donald Trump tried to twist and turn the words to increase the cost. He thought he was going to have a viral moment, but Jay Powell is sharp. Here's another moment where the reporter says, "Are there any things that the chairman could say to you today that would make you back off on your criticisms?"
A long way to go.
Yes, sir.
So,
President, are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you? The country is doing really well. I just briefed the chairman on the deal we made with Japan. Japan is putting up $550 billion in order to lower their tariffs a little bit. That way they have a little bit lower tariff.
I mean, Trump is directly giving up the game right there. Here's the deal. The reason why the Federal Reserve is so independent from the executive branch or from the president's pressure is because we need somebody who can take an objective look at monetary policy long-term beyond any sort of administration and make the best decision for the American people. There's a reality where Donald Trump makes a decision that maybe feels good for the next 3 months to lower inflation, or maybe even the next 16 months, but then right as he leaves, it is an absolute mess. And if we begin to politicize it, it's a slippery slope, because then the next Fed chair is politicized, and the next Fed chair is politicized. And then the next time we get a wild whack job president like Trump, I mean, fingers crossed it never happens, but if it does happen, right away we have RFK Jr. or whatever the equivalent is as the Fed chair, and it's a slippery slope. The policy gets ruined. We turn into a country like Hungary, where the executive branch is printing money just to temporarily stay afloat and win the next midterm election without thinking about the long-term consequences. That's why it's nice to have a Federal Reserve that is, separate. Entirely separate, a Federal Reserve that can make its own decisions based on the next 20 years, not the current administration. And let me point out, Jerome Powell, it's kind of a red herring when Donald Trump attacks him. It's not about Jerome Powell. There is a Fed board. The Federal Reserve is not just Jerome Powell unilaterally making decisions. There's a group of people that reach a sort of consensus and then guide the direction of the country. So that even further proves that Trump is just trying to undermine the credibility of Jay Powell because he wants to throw him out. Trump doesn't actually, it's all politics. It's all a disgusting form of authoritarian politics where Trump will make personal attacks, nicknames, try to embarrass people on camera. That's what he did to Zelensky. He's basically doing the equivalent of what he did to Zelensky. Like right at the beginning, he makes sure that he pulls Jerome Powell on camera so he can get his moment. When Jerome Powell steps aside, Trump literally does this. He tries to get him to come on camera.
Chairman, come on over. And we're just...
Chairman, come on over. I say, knowing that I have in my pocket a fact-check piece of paper that I would just love to pull out and show him. It's all a trap. He tried to drop Jerome Powell and he got smacked across the face. I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate these videos and these rapid response breakdowns, subscribe with the little bell, post notifications on so you never miss a video. I'll see you on the next one, and peace out.